After 2 weeks of marriage, my wife filed for divorce and a $20,000 lawsuit for harassment. The tale of my wife departing just 2 weeks post-marriage, filing for divorce, and alleging rape, demanding a $20,000 settlement, is far from the usual money-hungry narrative. It's an oddity that bewilders me, and I'm eager to hear your thoughts. This narrative marks the ruin of my life, a Korean American raised in the US, spending my 20s teaching English in South Korea, where I crossed paths with a charming Korean woman. Initially friends sharing the same workplace for a year, we transitioned into dating and swiftly tied the knot after 3 months. Our honeymoon in Guam was blissful, settling into a Korean apartment thereafter, cherishing moments of laughter and endless cuddles on our bed, reveling in each other's presence. Then, out of nowhere, the unforeseen occurred. Returning from a grocery run, my wife erupted in a fit of rage, hurling groceries across the floor, a stark deviation from her usual demeanor. Shocked and puzzled by this unprovoked outburst, I attempted to calm her, sensing something deeply amiss. Suspecting hormonal issues or some underlying trouble, I reached out to her mother-in-law Mil. She conversed with my wife at length, advising me to transport her to Daegu, their family's city, claiming she urgently needed hospitalization there. Agreeing, I drove her, noticing a calmer demeanor as I dropped her off and returned to work. Days passed with no communication. Frantic attempts to reach her family yielded no responses. Distressed, I journeyed to Daegu for answers. Welcomed by Mil and Phil, they disclosed my wife's deteriorating mental health, requiring extended treatment. Astounded, I hadn't anticipated this. I presumed her behavior akin to pre-wedding stress, unaware of any prior signs of instability. Taken to a mental hospital, Mil imposed 2 rules: conceal our marital ties and remain silent during the doctor's consultation. Overwhelmed, I complied, desperate to see my wife. The doctor entered and disclosed my wife's diagnosis: severe depression, depersonalization, and dissociative disorder. Bewildered by these terms and brimming with questions, Mil abruptly ended the session, guiding me outside. Observing her payment in cash, avoiding Korean national health insurance to evade a paper trail, left me perplexed. Mil and Phil laid blame on the wedding and our marriage, urging me to have been more considerate toward their daughter. Apologizing, I complied with their instructions to wait silently. Amidst days of complete silence, anxiety consumed me, leading to futile attempts to contact my wife, Bill, her grandparents, Phil, yielding no response. Driving to Bill's workplace, he evaded me frantically, offering no insight into the situation. Astonished, I chased after him, but his only response was, "It's between you two. I don't know anything." His avoidance left me stunned. Moments later, Mil finally called, redirecting me to speak solely with her, stressing my wife's continued illness and the need for more time before her return. Her insistence on waiting for my wife's recovery led me to remain where I was. After a week passed, my Mil and Phil unexpectedly arrived at my doorstep. Inviting them in, Mil began gathering my wife's belongings, prompting my query about the situation. Suddenly, Phil asserted, "You should not engage in oral sex." Confused and stunned, I was confronted with the allegation that my wife's sudden illness stemmed from my alleged coercion and engagement in oral sex with her. Phil condemned this as despicable, insisting I should be ashamed. Perplexed and taken aback, I clarified that our intimate moments were consensual and devoid of any issues, emphasizing the privacy of marital interactions and suitable for parental discussion. However, they adamantly disregarded my reasoning, asserting that such acts would inevitably lead to a woman's mental instability. Enraged, I snapped, confronting their hypocrisy. "Then, according to you, the majority of the world is mentally unstable. Don't act like you're exempt from it." Fed up, I demanded they leave, which they did, taking some of my wife's belongings. Days later, divorce papers arrived, alleging continuous rape, emotional and mental abuse throughout our 2-week marriage. My wife claimed I was responsible for her mental conditions due to sexual abuse. The shock immobilized my thoughts as I grappled with the unbelievable reality unfolding before me. The woman I married just weeks ago was now filing for divorce, painting a dreadful portrait of me as an American sexual predator, a stigma exacerbated by a notorious scandal involving American English teachers engaging in illicit activities with Korean women. What staggered me further were the meticulously compiled recordings she submitted. Dating back to our earliest encounters, these recordings captured our conversations, seemingly innocuous moments now twisted to depict me as an insatiable American. It appeared she'd surreptitiously recorded our dates and phone calls, selectively cherry-picking segments to portray me in a certain light, amplifying flirtatious or joking remarks to suit her narrative. Strangely, no recordings of our intimate moments surfaced, likely because they contradicted her narrative. Just ordinary, consensual interactions. Was this all a ploy to extort money, a sham Asian marriage for status, or a premeditated scheme for swift lawsuit gains? It was utterly perplexing. As a humble teacher, money was a luxury I didn't possess. Yet, my wife and her parents embraced this without concern, generously covering our apartment's down payment and furnishing costs while I handled the wedding expenses. Their investment exceeded $20,000. A sincere attempt to secure their daughter's future with me, seeking a prosperous life together. Nothing added up. Amidst the divorce and the pervasive movement in Korea, my wife skillfully portrayed herself as a helpless Korean woman victimized by a deceitful American predator. Exploiting the society's sensitivity to such claims, she wove a narrative of coercion and repeated abuse, capitalizing on the prevailing sentiment. Summoning the strength to fight back, I engaged a lawyer, although the odds seemed stacked against me. Her crafted story, recordings, and the societal bias heavily favored her. Yet, during the trial, a crucial error emerged in her account. I was accused of threatening her at a specific time, but Katives placed me elsewhere. This discrepancy eroded her credibility, leading the judge to rule in my favor, dismissing the abuse claim and denying the $20,000 settlement. Married for a mere 2 weeks before the abrupt divorce, I technically won the lawsuit, yet felt no victory. The purpose behind this turmoil remains an enigma. Even 5 years later, the scars remain deep, fostering a deep-seated distrust. Nights are consumed by haunting thoughts, questioning why. I genuinely cherished her, believing in a promising start until she left and took legal action. The unanswerable queries persist. Was it hope for the best with preparedness for the worst? Why pin everything on me when the reality seemed vastly different? Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.